and welcome to SureenaSpeaks. And in this highly requested video, I'm going to go through how I check a Dosette box. So different pharmacists will have their own ways and preferred methods of checking Dosette box. This is purely my way of how I like to check them. So a bit of background, during my pre-reg year, I was in charge of creating the Dosette boxes for our patients. We had just under 100 Dosette box patients, so for a good few months, my role was to create them all, and I hated it. But it taught me a lot. It taught me what medicines shouldn't be given at the same time as other medicines. It taught me which medicines aren't suitable for going into a Dosette box. And it taught me what the tablets actually look like, which then, when I became a pharmacist, really helped. Now, especially when you're locoming, different stores, different companies, they will use different manufacturers. So their tablets will look slightly different. So that is something to bear in mind. But a lot of the time, for example, aspirin will be a white small tablet with OD on the marking. If you use Epilim, sodium valproate tablets, they're usually an oval shaped purple tablet. So some tablets are consistent whatever company you go to, especially if you're dispensing that particular product by brand. But if it's a generic version, then there are a few differences. So Ramipril capsules with one particular company might look slightly different to Ramipril capsules with another particular company. So like I said, just something to bear in mind when you are accuracy checking Dosettes. Now, for the purposes of this video, the way that I'm going to spell Dosette is D-O-S-E-T-T-E. You'd be surprised how many different variations there are of the word Dosette, and actually how much of a debate and a discussion there is on the internet about how you should spell Dosette. But like I said, for this video, that's just the way that I'm going to spell it. So I've created the prescription, the chart, and the actual Dosette itself. So for the purposes for this video, we're going to pretend that it has been clinically checked and everything is absolutely a-okay with the prescription and everything. And we're also going to pretend that the actual tablets in the Dosette are actually tablets and some of them aren't sweets. Yeah. Now, I appreciate that the actual writing might be hard for you to read during this video, but I have put all this material on my Facebook page, so maybe have that in front of you whilst you're going through this video. So when I'm checking a Dosette, I have a few things set out ready in front of me. I have my prescription, the Dosette box itself, I have the Dosette chart, and I have the medicines in which the medicines were taken out from to create the Dosette box. And essentially, when you're checking a Dosette, you're cross-referencing the prescription with the chart, the prescription with the labels, the chart with the labels, and the chart against the actual medicines in the Dosette box, and not forgetting the medicines that you're using against the prescription. So you're cross-referencing everything in turn. So first and foremost, the very first thing that I think you should check is the name. Make sure that the name on the prescription is the same as the name on the chart, which is the same as the name which is on your Dosette box. When Dosette mistakes have happened, actually some high profile cases of when mistakes have happened is because similar sounding patient prescription was dispensed and cross-referenced against a similar sounding patient in a Dosette box. So you had two patients with very similar names, and their paperwork got swapped over, essentially. So that's the very first thing that I want to check, is that the name against all the material that I'm using is the same, as well as the address. So we've got Mr. Pat Tato. He lives at 1 Chipsville, ready salted, and postcode is Chips. You can tell I was hungry when I created this Dosette box. So again, what I normally do is I check my prescription as I would check, well, I check the prescription against the medicines as I would normally check a prescription against a medicine. So for my Ramipril, I've got my Ramipril, 2.5 milligrams, 2.5 milligrams, capsules. I check it as I like I said, I do usually check the medicines again, a prescription. I have got a video called the ticking technique, which goes through in more detail about checking your dispensed medication against a prescription, so do check that out if you haven't. With this particular prescription, it is a 7-day prescription, as you can see. 7, 7, that's 28, 7, 7. That's 28 because it's been taken 4 times a day, but it's still 7 days worth. Some Dosette prescriptions come as a 7-day script, some come as a 28-day script. It's usually down to the prescriber what kind of prescription that they do. I know a lot of pharmacies do request though that Dosette scripts are done as 7-day scripts because it does make it a lot easier and you get reimbursed more for it as well. So once I've checked that I'm happy that the correct medication has been checked against the prescription, so I've got my Ramipril capsules, I've got my Cocodamol, I've got my omeprazole, etc., etc. Also remembering not to forget that you actually do check the expiry dates as well. Once I've checked all that and I'm happy chappy, then I can check now my prescription against my chart. So I've already checked the name, we're happy with that. I will then check that, okay, the information that is on here is exactly the same as the information that is written there. So we've got our Ramipril, 2.5 milligrams, 2.5 milligrams, capsules, 7, 7, 1 daily, and it's being given at breakfast. And you do that for each of your items. With these Dosette box charts, sometimes they do have a section at the bottom where you write down other medicines which are being taken outside the Dosette. For Mr. Potato, that happens to be Hypromellus eye drops. So now that I've checked that, I can now check my prescription against my dispense labels, just to make sure that that is all correct as well. So I prefer to start at whatever is at the beginning of the prescription. You might want to start at what is written as the dispense label first. Again, there's no real right way of doing it. It's just whatever your preference is. So I've got Ramipril 2.5 milligram capsules, Ramipril 2.5 milligram capsules, 1 OD, take 1 daily. I'm happy that this and that are written as the same. What I might then do is just make a little mark on the actual prescription itself. That's just for my own reference to know that I have then checked that bit. Then when it comes to Cocodamol, again, Cocodamol 8 by 500 milligram tablets, Cocodamol 8 by 500 milligram tablets. We've got 28, 28, 1 QDS, 1 4 times a day. I'm happy with that. Again, I'm just going to mark that to say that I have checked that. That's just for my own reference so that I know that I'm not missing out anything at all. So now that we've done that, we're going to cross-reference what's on our chart with the medication that is on the dispensing label. So just like we did with the prescription. So we've got our Ramipril 2.5 milligram capsules, 1 daily, and we've got it slotted in our breakfast slot. We're going to find Ramipril 2.5 milligram capsules, 1 daily, 7, yep, we're happy. And again, we're going to do that for each of our medicines. And with this particular chart, it's given us an option to write down what medicines are outside of the Dosette, and over here we've got what medicines outside the Dosette. So even though for this particular prescription Hypromellus hasn't been prescribed, it is still a good idea to check that what is written on here is written over here and it is still valid. And now we can start to actually accuracy check. So there are various ways in which we can check this. Again, this is the way that I like to do it. So with these charts, it is really important that it does state on here what the colour, shape, marking, and whether it is a tablet or a capsule. Reason for that being is you'll find some Dosette boxes where a patient is on 10 different tablets. They all happen to be white tablets, circular tablets, and it makes it a really tricky Dosette to check. This one is quite a nice, easy one to check because they are different colours. So that's why this bit is really important, because at least then you can write whether it's a white small tablet, a white big tablet, if there's any particular markings on there, etc. So with our Ramipril, we've got written on here, Ramipril 2.5 milligram capsules, 1 daily, and we've got it once at breakfast. So I'm going to check on my chart here that, okay, Ramipril, it's going to be the green oval one with no marking, and it's a capsule. So I can see, yep, it's being put in the breakfast slot. I've got one green oval one with no marking in each of these pockets. I'm happy. Because I'm happy with that, I can then sign it off. Then we do the same with our cocodamol. So we've got cocodamol 8 by 500 milligram tablets, 4 times a day. And again, I've got one in my breakfast slot. I also have my lunch, tea time, and bedtime. So it's up to you. At this point, you can then decide that you're going to check all of the rows and check that there is, well, if we go to here, it's saying cocodamol is a white circle tablet with a marking AB. We know that it's going to be in each of these rows, so we can check at this point. Personally, I like to check it row by row. So actually, I wouldn't check these ones just yet. I would just focus purely on breakfast and check that I do have a white circle tablet with marking AB in each of my breakfast column. My chart then says omeprazole, 20 milligram capsules, 7, 1 daily, 1 at breakfast. Again, I go to my chart. It's a white, yellow, oval capsule with the marking 008. And again, I check in each of these. And you keep doing that until you got to the end. And I've checked my amlodipine. So that's breakfast done. Now I will move on to lunch. Now, lunchtime, it's saying, actually, I've only got one cocodamol tablet. So I'll check, yep, one cocodamol tablet. At tea time, again, I've only got one cocodamol tablet. So again, I will check one cocodamol tablet. And then at bedtime, I can see I've got one cocodamol tablet. I've also got my tamsulosin capsule. So again, I'm going to check over here. It says tamsulosin, and it's a red, oval, no marking capsule. Red, oval, no marking capsule, yep, and I've checked that I've got my cocodamol in there, yep. So I've checked it per column. Some people may prefer to check it per row. And once I've checked that, what I personally then like to do is count them. So in my breakfast, I should only have 4 tablets in each of my breakfast pockets. Sometimes when you do close up a Dosette box, tablets do jump from one to another. So even though you've checked that actually, yeah, each of these medicines are in there, accidentally maybe a tamsulosin might have slipped in there. So I do like to check that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. I'm happy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth. Yep, I've only got 4 in there. I'm happy. The same with my lunchtime. I've only got 1 in there. Tea time, I've only got 1 in there. Bedtime, I've only got 2 in each of these pockets. No, none of them have jumped out. None of them have jumped across to another pocket. None of them have been missed out altogether. To be honest, it's usually at this point then I will sign each of these. So it's up to you. I mean, for example, with the Ramipril capsules, because you've only got 1 at breakfast time, once you have then checked your breakfast column, you can then sign it off. Or you can just wait till you've done them all and then you'll sign it off. So you would sign that you've checked, that you checked each one and that we're a happy chappy. It's all been checked. The other thing that I would say would be important to check is make sure this is sealed properly. Sometimes, again, once they've been created, these Dosette boxes, you might get a bit of a gap, and again, it puts it at risk of one tablet being able to jump from one to another. So make sure that this is sealed properly. And with Dosette boxes, it's important that we give the patients the information leaflets along with the Dosette as well, so make sure that's all kept together. And that's it. That's how I check a Dosette box. Like I said, with this one, I've purposely made it easier for myself and for you guys to see by using different colours. But a lot of the times with these Dosette boxes, it will all be white tablets. They will be circular. They will be really, really difficult to check, which is why, and I can't stress out enough how important it is that this bit of what colour, shape, marking, whether it's a tablet or capsule, is written on there. The more you check Dosettes, the more efficient you will become with them, the easier it will become to check them. But remember, when it comes to checking, it is never ever a race. Never feel like you are under time conditions or pressure to check a Dosette within a particular time. Go at a pace that suits you, and I can't stress that bit enough. So I hope you found this video useful. As I mentioned right at the beginning, this is how I check a dossier, and different pharmacists will have their own ways and methods. But hopefully, especially if you're starting out or you're newly qualified, this gives you a bit more of an idea of how you can, an option of how you can check a dossier. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, why not give it a thumbs up? Like, share, subscribe. Do also visit my Facebook, Instagram and Twitter page. And if you're working, good luck with your work. If you're studying, good luck with your revision, and happy revising.